Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters challenge we have from 1968, the Northern Lights, originally introduced as the Northern Light by Glenmore Distilling, who is out of business today. They got bought out. Most of Glenmore's assets owned by Sazerac. They still have the Glenmore bottling plant in Owensboro, Kentucky. But there's the Northern Lights. Trying to get the thing to flash. There it is. Got your maple leaf, got your crown, all your typical Canadian things. Pretty bottle, brown bottle with the diamonds, the Transient Nightfall of Diamonds. It's bottled at Buffalo Trace, Sazerac's Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. Oh, well, I got to correct that. I'm thinking of another one. This is from bottled by Barton Imports in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, sorry about that. No problem. Be easy to correct. Okay. Canadian Crest Special Blend, authentic. Yeah, it's authentic. It's real. It actually exists. Introduced in 2004. Mainly sold for the Albertsons store chain. Same bottle design. Even today, I was in Albertsons late last year. Same design. Black with gold with a little red. Canadian blend. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. They're both 80 proof. It says approved by John James. I don't know who John James is. Maybe the master blender or something. Just got a signature on it. So they're both bottled in Louisville, Kentucky. I can't remember which one I was thinking of that was bottled at Buffalo Trace, but it's one of them. It's more than one of them. More than one Canadian whiskey. Okay, so here we go. Still nighttime out there, but daylight's coming. Okay. Can you only buy, there's a pretty good amount left, about 10% of the bottle left. I could do about 5 more taste challenges with that. I have seen Canadian Crest sold at other liquor stores online, and I think I was in a liquor store somewhere on a road trip, and I looked and I saw Canadian Crest, and I was like, what? I thought this was Albertsons only. Of course, the liquor store, I think, was a chain store, like some, can't remember the name of the chain, but that could be owned by Super Value Albertsons holding company. You know what I'm saying? Could be part of Albertsons for all I know. But mainly it's sold for them, but you can buy it in other locations. Just like with Caliber Canadian whiskey. Yeah, it's a Walmart brand. It's owned by a company called Walmart Apollo. That's strange. Not Walmart, but Walmart Apollo. I don't know what that is. Is that some kind of company they set up for owning brands or something? Strange. Can't get this chair straight. But I've seen Caliber at other stores. Maybe Walmart licenses it out. Jack Cottrell, good morning from snowy Michigan. And good morning to you from 50-degree humid Louisiana. All right. Well, they're both golden, amber. And they're both Canadian whiskey with natural flavor. That's not a remarkable statement because almost all Canadian whiskey has natural flavors added. You might say, well, I got a bottle that doesn't say natural flavors added. That's right. They don't have to disclose that. The only thing they have to disclose is if you ask for a certificate stating that they don't go above the limit of 9.0 flavorings. I don't think you, the consumer, could write to them asking for a certificate. It has to be like the importer, like people that are getting it in bulk from Canada. They can say, okay, we know there's a rule that you can't go above 9.9% of the volume with flavoring if a certificate is asked for. But from what I was reading, there's almost no case that anybody ever asked for a certificate. They either are not aware that they can, and furthermore, even if they do have an awareness, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would we care what the percentage is? If we put it on the shelf and people buy it, that's what we care about. I mean, how many people go in a liquor store asking that question? You know how many? 0%. So it's one of those regulations that has no practical meaning. It's there, but it doesn't mean anything. Say, just say like this: Canadian whiskey has natural flavorings, which could be an assortment of barrel-aged wine, has to be aged in a wood barrel, and different other spirits, brandy, rum, even bourbon. All right. Could be cognac, what's the type of brandy. So that's why you get these Canadian whiskeys and they taste like, whoop, this doesn't taste like bourbon. Well, bourbon can't have flavoring. It can only have corn. It has to be mostly corn, and then it can have other kind of grains. So these things would be exotic a little bit. Now, some people say Canadian whiskey's bland, dull. I was reading some reviews the other day. It's so bland. He was saying a blanket statement, Canadian whiskey's so bland. And I was thinking, I don't really notice that. I don't know. I've never noticed that they were bland. They're unique. They're eccentric. They're unlike other types of whiskey, that Japanese, East Asian, you know what I'm saying, the Irish, the Scotch, and the American, whether it's bourbon, blended bourbon, whiskey, or corn whiskey, or blended of whiskey, whatever, etc. Canadian whiskey has its own little character. Whether you like it or not, that's up to you. Do you have a right not to like it? You sure do. I didn't mind that the guy said he didn't like it. That was no problem. Just him saying it was bland, I just didn't get that because I don't find that they're bland at all. Okay, this one has that same old story. It's like you're watching the same video every morning. This is the same old story because it's that cereal grains, mostly corn. Canadian whiskey's just like bourbon in the sense that it's mostly corn. It's not a law. It just has to be Canadian grains, but they use corn. It's inexpensive, so you get that. Corn grits. Think of Quaker grits, and you're eating that for breakfast, but without salt. And usually they're using yellow corn in the Canadian whiskey, not the white hominy. Other aromas. Yeah, they have those flavorings, but it's not real predominant here. It's a background thing. It's sort of like a little enhancement is how to use it most of the time. They make it grain. They use the corn, the wheat, the barley malt, sort of like in Scotch, blended Scotch malt whiskey. And rye, that gives it, those grains that give it the flavor. The corn just be a bulk spirit, about 80%, just to give it body and to make it. That's why it's $9.99 a bottle, you see. Canadian Crest will run you $6.49 a bottle at Albertsons. I see it all the time, $6.49 a bottle. The Northern Lights be about $9.99. So, you know what's the factor going to be? They're probably going to taste similar. If I can tell them apart, so it's going to be all about price. So which one would I buy? Common sense. Canadian Crest. The aroma here is more grain, but with not the flavor. Okay, I can learn to speak English one day without the flavorings. More corn grits. You say, well, Canadian whiskey has mostly corn grits. Bourbon has mostly corn grits, so they're the same. Well, bourbon has to be aged in new charred oak barrels. Canadian whiskey doesn't have to be. It can be. There's no rule. You can take a new oak barrel, char it, and age Canadian whiskey, and there's no law against that. So then you would have essentially bourbon, but since it's not made in the United States, they can't call it that. Kind of like cognac has to be from that region of France. So you can make bourbon in Canada. You can't call it bourbon. You get it? All right. And it couldn't have flavor in it either. Went with Maker's Mark for my first bourbon. How did it work out? That's a famous brand. I've never had it, but everybody's always telling me about it. It's a good premium price brand, right? Premium priced in your $25, you know, a little bit higher than Buffalo Trace, perhaps. Okay, I got to taste these. Yeah, it's just like I described in the nose. It's a lot of corn, sweetness like candy corn. There's peppery rye at the end of the sip. There's some obvious malt whiskey. You get that bread dough. Maybe some wheat to soften it out. I think I'm picking up some wheat. And probably some wine. Whether it's sherry, I don't know this, but I think a lot of Canadian whiskeys are using cocktail sherry. And I have a big bottle of Fairbanks cocktail sherry, and that I'm going to talk to John and Illy about doing an examination with that. And when he tastes that, he's going to say, ooh, maybe this is what I'm tasting in these Canadian whiskeys. And I'm thinking, yeah. And I got it for $8.99, that Fairbanks cocktail sherry, in a 1.5 liter bottle. 1.5 liter. Now that's a deal, huh? Dornax had it on sale. Okay. Lots of grain, of course. Maybe more bite with this. Might have a little bit more bite. And that could be coming from some rye spice. Oh, it's about the same level of flavoring, plum wine, if they're using plum wine or cocktail sherry, some kind of wine. But, you know, American blended whiskey uses wine too. Use sherry. They call it blending sherry. Can't be over 2% though. Now that is a law, and that's strict. It says it right there on the Tax and Trade Bureau website. No more than 2% per volume of cocktail sherry. These are so close, they're nearly identical. But I think this one here has a little bit more of that plum wine. And I remember the Northern Lights had that. But it's very close. It's not like one is running away with the contest. Now, I know you might say, well, Canadian Crest is a private label brand. It is sort of, mostly. I don't know if it's necessarily that. But, you know, it's no good. It's probably no good. It's just Albertsons sells it. It's probably like Winn-Dixie Canadian whiskey. It's no good. Well, I don't know. I've never tried Winn-Dixie Canadian whiskey. In fact, I've never tried any Winn-Dixie brand liquor. But they're all made by Sazerac. So same thing, the Founders Company. Anytime you see the Founders Company in Louisville, that's the Sazerac operation that does those private labels. So that's the tip-off. The Founders Company. You see that at Winn-Dixie. Go look at the bottles. But then on the phone number in the little thing, it'll say Sazerac. I don't know. This one's a little smoother. Maybe it is the Northern Lights. Maybe this one's the Northern Lights. Because I remember the Northern Lights being a little smoother, not having that little, a bit smoother, not having that little bite at the end, which to me is a somewhat unpleasant. Yeah, you can get good store brand, as evidenced by Canadian Crest. And the D.W. Anders brandy is good. That's a Albertsons brand. Replaced Albertsons. D.W. Anders. Is it similar to Hartley? Yeah. If it's not the same, I didn't say that. All right. Morning. How is everyone doing? I suppose they're doing okay. DJ Beacon, thanks for watching. I'm doing fine. D.W. Andrews has an interesting little squared off. It's a strange bottle. It's like a long spout neck, and it goes out like that, and it comes in. I think it's like one of those. It's the same type bottle as some of those liqueurs that Sazerac makes. Brown bottle, D.W. Andrews. It's strange. I mean, it's not going to be like brandy you've had, but it's inexpensive. I saw everybody's got the Hartley on sale right now, the VSOP. New label, nice new label. I said, I'm not buying it though. Okay, I'm going to say this is the Northern Lights. It's slightly better. Is it $3.50 a bottle better? No, I wouldn't go that far. I would just save the $3.50 every time and just like forget about the differences. You know what I mean? People are going to do mixed drinks anyway with this heck. How many people buy Canadian whiskey and drink it neat and swirl it around a glass and talk about the flavor notes? Maybe 1% if it's that high. They're both good though. Not sure what I was expecting. I was surprised how smooth it was. It was $30 or $7.50. Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe some places might have it for $25. Just depending if you could hit it on a sale, you know. I would like to try Maker's Mark. I would like to try a lot of things, but there's only so much time, right? I can't just be constantly trying, buy, buy. I did need to get Crown Royal because, I mean, I've been doing this channel for years and I never did Crown Royal. It's kind of sad, huh? I did find a huge bottle, you know, the handle bottle, big glass bottle with the handle on the back, half gallon. And it came with 2 glasses, beautiful glasses. And it was a gift pack, and it was $45.99. You get a regular bottle of Crown Royal, it's $23.99, maybe $22.99 if you find it somewhere. But so we're getting a cheap. That comes out to about $19 or something for a regular size bottle. So plus 2 glasses. So that's about the best deal you're going to get on Crown Royal in 2020. $45.99 for extra 1,000 milliliters and 2 glasses. There's your deal. So I'm going to say this is the Northern Lights. Here we go. Better say NL. It does. Hey, I'm getting so used to this, man. I can get it every time. I've gotten so used to the Northern Lights, I'm nailing it every time. I'm never getting it wrong. You say, so it's distinctive. It is distinct. Copper and King's American brandy and a joint. Yes, we do get that in Louisiana at some stores, not in this parish, but I know on the West Bank of New Orleans, in Tarrytown at Hong Kong Market, they have a whole array of Copper and Kings. And, you know, Asian market, brandy, right? You know, brandy is so popular in Asia, more than America. Just bought a bottle of the Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye, but haven't tried it. Congrats on hitting an NL on the bottom of the snifter. Thank you. Whiskey is popular in America and in England, I guess. Canada, of course. But if you go to the other countries like Mexico, India, well, Scotch is real big in India. Well, East Asia, Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, China, Philippines, they are all into brandy. That's their jam. Brandy, 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 which is like grape whiskey, basically. It's whiskey made from grapes. So, well, I like them both. I don't always drink light beer, but when I do, I follow the Ron Ontario philosophy of shop and price. Stay thirsty, my friends. Right. Why pay more for something that's no better? You know, you're going to pay $4 more, a 12-pack for Bud Light, and it's no better than Natural Light. If it's better. If it's better. That's arguable. I wouldn't go along. I don't think it's better, but if you want to pay the extra money, go ahead. Anyway, thanks for watching this video production. I'm planning to come back Tuesday with another Sazerac showdown. Thanks, and y'all have a great Sunday. enjoy the NFL games. Will there be more upsets? I know these Ravens fans are probably drinking whiskey right now, and it ain't to taste challenge it. They ain't drinking it to taste challenge it. Woo.